Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It is June 8th, 2025, and we are seeing yet the latest outbreak of political violence here in the United States, this most recent one in Los Angeles. This is merely the latest in a series of them. We had a immigrant who overstayed his visa and thus was here illegally in Colorado recently start lighting Jews on fire by throwing Molotov cocktails on them. Of course, we all remember the Jan 6 riots. We remember the BLM riots. We remember the assassination attempts on Donald Trump. And I'm sure there are many other examples that I'm leaving out right now. The point is, over and over again, we're seeing example after example of political violence, some from the left, some from the right. If you're on the left, you're going to blame the right and ignore your own. If you're on the right, you're going to blame the left and ignore your own. We need to stop focusing on just blaming the other side and admit that both sides have a problem with this because both sides are engaging in it. You might say, wasn't this both sidisms? Yes, it is. And there's a reason I'm saying that because both sides are doing it. Political violence has no place in the United States of America. We are a democracy. You have the ability to vote. You have the ability to go to town halls with your state and local representatives, with your congressman, with your senator. You can speak your mind there. You can make phone calls. You can write letters. You can send emails. You have the constitutionally guaranteed right to lawful protest. I remember when the BLM protests were going on, and in many places there was rioting and looting and arson. In my home city, there were protests, and they went on in downtown. And you know what? They followed the law. I mean, they would temporarily block a road, but nothing major. And what do you know? That there wasn't widespread vandalism or looting, and they were able to go out and express themselves and give their opinions in a very public forum. And it was fine. It was absolutely fine. A lot of other cities didn't do this. They pulled the cops back, and you saw 7-Elevens and Nike stores getting looted and burned down. I'm not sure how that's supposed to help anything. Uh, the first thing we have to do is both sides need to start acknowledging their own problem. The second thing we need to do is we need to understand that the moment you say it is okay to do violence on behalf of this cause, or that cause, the worst people in the world are going to flock to that cause. Not because they believe in it, they don't give a damn about the cause, but because you have given them license. You have told them you can hurt people, you can steal things, you can break things, you can deface things. You just have to do it for this reason. And they will show up, and they don't care what your cause is. Your cause could be left wing, right wing, whatever. It doesn't matter to them. They just want someone to tell them you can do this without all the negative consequences, and they will show up and they will do it. And now you have let these lunatics into your political tent, and now they're there. And now you're going to have a hell of a problem getting rid of them. If you read the testimonies of the people who have been parts of these groups, like some of the people parts of Antifa and whatnot that came out of it, and you hear about what they do to each other, it is bone chilling how horrible they are to each other, how much they abuse each other, the violence, the drug use, things like that. You do not want these people on your side. I'm very clearly a Republican. I've got no problem saying that. I do not want anyone who's doing violence on behalf of my side. Go to jail if you're going to do that. I would strongly advise both sides to take a good hard look at themselves and realize that when you let these people in, you are stuck with them and they're going to cause you no end of problems. If you don't believe me, look at Portland, Oregon. Portland welcomed in the most god-awful people imaginable because they were so mad at Trump and they thought whatever laws they break are worth it. They destroyed businesses, they destroyed public property, they robbed constantly, they shattered windows. Many businesses were forced to shut down. They drove people away. A lot of people simply left the city. They killed tourism to the city. It was a disaster. And we have this thing where we just act like that doesn't happen if it was our political tribe who did that. January 6th was a disaster. It never should have happened. You may notice I'm pointing out on both sides. I'm pointing out both left and right. And so I'm sure if you're on the left, you're thinking, how dare you say that we are as bad as the right? And if you're on the right, you're thinking, how dare you say we're as bad as what's on the left? Guys, both sides are doing this, and they both need to stop. One argument I've heard in favor is, well, look at the founding fathers. Didn't they engage in political violence? The answer is yes, they did. And their circumstances were completely different. They did not have the right to vote. They did not have the free speech. They did not have the free press. They did not have the free assembly. They couldn't go to a town hall and talk to their member of parliament because they weren't represented in parliament. They couldn't make a phone call or send an email or write a letter or anything like that and have it be heard. In fact, the founding fathers, when they first started, the first Continental Congress didn't get together and start a revolution. They got together, and you know what they did? They wrote letters and they sent diplomats to England to say, hey, we have these grievances. Can we talk about this? Can we work this out some way? And the British Crown basically said, no, go pound sand, and if you keep this up, we're going to hang you. They actually attempted nonviolence first. And then when they had no other avenue left open to them, that's when they did that. We as Americans have many other avenues open to us. Like I said, Make a phone call, write a letter, send an email, go to a town hall, do a peaceful protest, and above all, go vote. You have an ability to seek peaceful redress of grievance. By the way, one other thing I want to point out, if you live in a democracy, you are going to lose elections. You are sometimes going to lose them, not just to people you don't like, but to people you absolutely hate. In my lifetime, I've had many election results I'm very happy with. I've had many election results I was very unhappy with. I've had election results that terrified me. This is part of living in a democracy. That does not mean, it means your voice gets heard. It does not mean you get your way. It does not mean you get your way all the time or even any of the time. I live in a red state. There's probably a lot of Democrats in the state who are probably tired of their party losing everything locally. There are a lot of Republicans who live in a place like California or Colorado, probably sick of their party losing everything. But that's the nature of democracy. It doesn't guarantee you get the results you want. It guarantees you get to have your vote. And that's it. So I would strongly encourage everyone to condemn all forms of political violence, all of it, by both sides, and especially call out your own side, because your voice is the one that people on your side are going to listen to. If you're on the left, you're not going to listen to me. If someone's on the, on the right, maybe they'll listen to me, but, and vice versa. The point of this, though, well, I think you understand the point of it. Political violence is wrong. It leads to bad outcomes. It leads to more government overreach. It leads to more oppression. And above all, it brings in the most god-awful people imaginable. Again, they don't care about your cause. They just want to hurt people and break things. And if you tell them it's okay to do it for your cause, they will show up and do it. And they will gladly do it to you if somebody else gives them the same license. There's a reason that whether it was Hitler, Stalin, Mao, the Khmer Rouge, take your pick, Castro, none of them ever had any problem finding headbreakers. When they needed people to do violence, they had as many as they needed. Right-wing, left-wing, fascist, communist, didn't matter. There's a subgroup of the population that likes to hurt people and break things, and they will show up for any group that allows them to do it, which means they will also show up for the group that you oppose, and they will gladly hurt you on their behalf. You do not want these people on your side. You do not want them to become embedded in a way that is socially acceptable to do the things that they want to do, because eventually they will do it against you. You might think they will never do it to me. I am right. I am good. I am virtuous. I'm on the right side of history. I'm on the right side of everything, so I am safe. No, you're not. History is full of people who allowed these kind of violent offenders to come in and gave them that license, and then later on they turn against them. Robespierre of France is the best example. He does everything he can to make sure Louis XVI gets his head cut off. When Louis XVI gets his head cut off, the crowd in Paris cheers. A year later, the crowd in Paris is cheering for another head coming off. This time, it's Robespierre. The people who cheered for killing the guy that Robespierre wanted dead were just as happy to cheer for Robespierre dying. These same miscreants will gladly hurt you and steal from you, just as gladly as they will hurt and steal from the people you don't like. So again, we need to stop this. Political violence in a democracy is a bad idea. Inevitably, if it goes too far, it leads to essentially a tyrannical, oppressive government. That's the only, ultimately that becomes the solution. People just say, we just want the madness to stop, and they elect someone who will stop it. And usually that person does stop it, and they stop it through horrible, horrible means. I do not recommend it. So please take a look at your own side. Understand that your own side is engaged in this. My side is engaged in it. I make no claims to the contrary of that. My side needs to do a better job. And I am urging everyone, please condemn all forms of political violence, because it will only blow back in your face. There have thousands of years of history of this. It is a disaster, it is a failure every time. Everybody else thought that when they did it, it was worth it. It was justified. They felt as strongly about it as you do, and they believed it was justified right up to the moment when the guillotine landed on their neck. So either way, that's my soapbox. I hope this has made some difference, and hope everyone's having a good weekend. Bye-bye.